Hello everyone, my name is Wayne Supernova and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the last episode, we took care of business as best we could until that weasel, Ashley, God, that weasel Ashley, decided to come up with the absolute perfect testimony for his cross-examination, and he threw everything against us. He threw everything against us, and we felt like we were at the end of our rope, and then Herlock Sholmes out of the blue comes in to save the day with a gift from Susato, and it was, in fact, the Cat Flap-O-Mat. The Cat Flap-O-Mat. And that is where I started getting very angry, because I learned, oh hey, guess what? I could have used this fucking information from the very beginning, because I knew all the way back at the beginning that we peeked through like a peephole, but nobody wanted to bring it up. Nobody wanted to say anything about it. And I was so confused. I was like, well, wait a minute. I had this observation earlier, but we didn't have any evidence for it, so I just let it go. And, well, now we see where that's gotten us. So, we have the Cat Flap-O-Mat, but, unfortunately, the jury has all voted guilty. So we need to figure out what we want to request. Do we request the summation examination and try and prove some jurors' testimonies wrong? Do we want to try and think? Or do we want to probably do the right thing, and now that we have the Cat Flap-O-Mat, go against one of the previous statements in Ashley's testimony? I think I already saved here. I'm pretty sure I already saved here, especially considering that I just hit continue and it popped up with this point for me to return to. So I'm going to go ahead and click further cross-examination and see where that gets us, because I feel like we're nearing the end here. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord! Requesting your permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Yeah, he interrupted it.
Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel?
No, my lord. So nobody can say anything then? If Reno asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd! Oh, you'd think it's absurd, wouldn't you? Hold on, let me turn this. I think I may have increased my microphone a little. Turn this down a little. There, I think that might be better. So, let's continue. I would remind... Oh, wrong voice.
I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to continue the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of these proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination.
We get one shot, one opportunity. We gotta make it count.
Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it.
A single chance to present evidence?
If, following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Adjudication. Is that clear, counsels? You will not press the witness any further.
My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. That was the most extra faint I've ever seen. Mr. Sholmes! I should not be moving. After all, I went through intense surgery, but I did it anyway because plot, and my name is fucking Herlock Sholmes. I mean, what kind of asshole with a name like that wouldn't show up at a time like this, huh? To stand so I don't even... Dude, you're throwing these big words at me. You think I've got 200 IQ? I got like 110 IQ. You can't be doing this shit to me. To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such a high fever. Either the man has an extraordinary sense of mind, strength of mind, or an extraordinary lack of feeling. I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you? Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared? I think we picked the right thing. Yes. One statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down, or Iris. I won't waste this final chance that Susato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Wipe the sweat from the brow. We gotta get this shit done. Very well then. Under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. Oh boy. Let's get it. Moment of the shooting again. Ooh. This music, though. This definitely does feel finale-ish. Alright, while these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Windabank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. I want to press this. Mr. Graydon, I take issue with your... No, my learned friend. I take issue with you. Ah! Oops. His lordship made it very clear that the defense is permitted to present only a single piece of evidence. The prosecution demands stern punishment for any mischief used to make more of this cross-examination. Wow! So you can't even press anything. Alright. I suppose we have one shot, one opportunity, really. Ugh, he threw that mischief in your face, Runo. Ugh, he threw those just desserts in my face twice. Alright, I can only present one single piece of evidence. I need to think about this carefully. Okay. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made it my mistake. Made my escape. How can we prove that the peephole was not there when he said it was? I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. And how did you know there was a peephole in the door is a better question. A compact machine for the rapid creation of small flaps and larger doors to allow cats to come and go freely. See, it doesn't say... Is there anything I can check on this? Whoa. Woo! Those vicious teeth look like they could rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made of a special alloy I developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second, so it can get through any kind of door in no time at all. And what are the two parts at the top there? Ah, those are for attaching hinges to the section of door that gets cut out. Right, of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest of doors. It sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but... It feels like the reality of the cat Flap-O-Mat is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. Ogahai's so adorable, there's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons! Well, that's what we get to know about this. And I don't think we have anything that shows the door itself. Unfortunately. Well, maybe. Ooh, there's one there. And there's not one here. I think it's this. I think it's this, because you can see that there is no peephole in the door at 1 a.m. and there is one at 1:30. You know what? I'm gonna save one more time. Save one more time, and then we're gonna see if this is it. Because we can show that there's no peephole in this door at this point in time. And I think we used the cat flap-o-mat to prove how the peephole was created. So here we go. No. Damn it. That reveals a damning inconsistency, that last statement.
Damning, you say? As I look at you, Counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow.
Huh?
It seems to me that is the damning inconsistency here, with the misplaced confidence of your assertion.
Ugh, he has a damning tongue. Even though that does make, even though I think my proof does make sense.
You invited, sir?
Is it just this then? It is, okay.
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Counsel?
Oh, it's my cat flap-o-mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of a room. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please without their owners having to open the... I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. Ah! But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door.
Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand.
Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all.
I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say?
2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Windibank had taken place.
That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes.
Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous! What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes, how could you? What?
Counsel, kindly say what you mean.
Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through.
What? No!
Objection! This is a farce! Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place, by my judicial assistant using this device.
Your assistant tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? That is a most serious act of vandalism.
For which I am humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with? Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back! However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ah! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got yo, bitch ass. Oh-ho.
Order. Is there any credence in this revelation?
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that a plaything can cut through a solid wooden door? Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second. Haha, I had a feeling you'd say that. What? Waggy, Cooey, time for dinner. Hey Wagahai, how you doing? Well?
Ah! Young lady, this is the Old Bailey! What does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the Old Bailey?
I'm not done yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean that the peephole in the storeroom door at Windibanks was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. What? The cat flaps my cat Flapomat creates are all of a fixed size, and the dimensions of the peephole at Windibanks are an exact match. Ugh! Hehe, old Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. Uh-oh. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the peephole has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. Ah!
What is the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Vadzeeks?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. Too bad I got the fucking proof, bitch! Let's go. What? Hey, don't worry about it. Forget about it. Come on, we got this.
Indeed, that is so, Lord Vadzeeks. Well, counsel?
Don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Yeah, let's fucking go. Well, she was the greatest judicial assistant in the world until Maya Fey showed up. But yeah, we'll water under the bridge. We'll forget about that for now.
Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the peephole in the door at Windibank's storeroom was created after the event, not before.
Well, guess what, bitch? Let's fucking go! Get that shit in the fucking place! What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again? My judicial assistant, Miss Usato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof.
And the necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel.
Uh-oh, he realizes something. This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielded a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background.
Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of any peephole of any description.
Ugh! Mr. Graydon, Mr. Wright. You couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Yo, give me the breakdown. No, that's a partial breakdown. I need the full breakdown, though. Come on.
Order, order, order! I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious.
And that's not the only thing we know. We now know beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. Well, good luck catching her. She's over in Japan. You're gonna have to fucking wait a bit. But more importantly...
Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Cheeks?
The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true, but that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No! I don't believe this, but they're right, as it stands now. I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris, you know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Runo? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there's a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What? Objection! Yeah, you knew that there was blood on her clothes, right? This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, it was the bloodstains on the coat, right? I think it would have to be. No, I feel like that's a red herring, actually. I'm gonna actually save here because I'm not sure on this one. I feel like I might be warping my own thought process around because the bloodstains on the coat were established from the previous incident with Mr. McGilded and his death. He shouldn't have known about the peephole if he was out of the room at the time, right? Because it was created after the murder took place, which means that he should have been out of the area before the peephole existed. So I think it's the peephole itself. I'm gonna say the peephole. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously I... Has the cat got your tongue, witness? The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windibanks constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of pawned articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through it all.
And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the peephole in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the peephole in the door.
How on earth is that possible? Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks?
Speak, Inspector.
It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you, permission denied.
Oh.
It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all.
You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes.
Of course, sir.
Mr. Graydon, you shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be.
Who is the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony?
I'm gonna save again. There's a lot of presenting that we have to do right now. This really is the end of this case. I think it has to have been Gregson, right? Because he said that the cops were around the area the entire time, which meant that no one that's not involved with the investigation could get in or out. Which means that he would be the only one that had contact with Graydon before, because they were whispering to each other, right? They were talking about things. We still don't know what they were talking about. So I feel like it has to be him. The only other option is he somehow picked up at his communications job. He somehow, like, was able to listen in on the police's, like, communication line and decipher something about the peephole that they were talking about in the investigation. But I think since it says that someone had to have told him, it's got to be Gregson. The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson.
Me?
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learnt of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, while the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time as he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received that information?
so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin.
Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery.
Which means the first time these two laid eyes on each other was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in the stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred.
They did occur, though. They occurred right there. I fucking pointed them out. I was like, hey, what the hell are you two talking about over here? Ah. Ooh, I've just remembered something, Runo. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying. Oh yes, now you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve Mr. McGilded's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it! It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then.
You little toe rag! You're making all this up! I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this bloke?
Admittedly, you wouldn't have had any reason to do something like that for no gain, but perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind. Then it starts to make more sense.
What deal, counsel?
I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. Uh-oh.
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Well, It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty.
I don't do that.
But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim.
Evidence?
Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal.
If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I think it's the missing music disc. I think that's what it is.
I must press you now for an answer, counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness?
The only evidence that we have for it is the music box, because it's missing a disc, right? I think this has to be it. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the missing music box disc. Because at the time, we were trying to find... We were waiting for the music box to show up, right? And the inspector already knew about the music box discs, and he probably already heard that they had government secrets on them, and that he needed to get them back by any means necessary from Stronhart. It's probably Stronhart who put him up to this. So, I think it's this, but we're gonna wait until next time to find out. I apologize for the cliffhanger, but also this is the perfect place to leave this off. So, that's going to be it for this episode. If you guys liked this episode, it's getting very spicy around here. Please subscribe and leave a like on the video so that this goes out to more people and more people come in and we get a community going here. It'd be awesome to see that happen. So yeah, I also need to say that the final Smash Brothers character is going to be released, well, not released, but it's going to be revealed on October 5th, and I do plan on watching that, live streaming it. Well, not live streaming it because I don't have a good enough internet to live stream, but I'm going to be reacting to it, and I'm going to upload that reaction probably later in the day on October 5th, because it's pretty easy to edit those reaction videos. So yeah, gonna have that to go on October 5th. I'm gonna see how long this recording session goes, because this episode's of course going up October 2nd. So if we finish off the game in the next 2 episodes here, then it'll be just that reaction as the second upload alongside Eastward that day. But if not, I'll probably bump Eastward to the next day and then do the reaction and also Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it's going to require seeing how this recording session goes. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Thank you guys once again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next part, where we hopefully finally put this case to rest and put this game to rest. And I will give my final thoughts about the game then. So yeah.